Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at some of these coins. We're going to do it live for the Patreon. So I'm just literally just about 30 seconds before it started that it's not showing up on the messages. So I'm not so sure if I'm going to have like a small crowd because something's not working properly. So if it's okay with you, I can see that there's 5 people in here. If it's okay with you, I'm going to just try and post it again to everybody. I'm not really very good at Patreon. I need to get my head around all this sort of thing. So if you just bear with me while I sort this out. Hello, mate. Just out of pure curiosity, how did you come across this live stream? Did you find it on the Patreon page? Did you find it on your messages? How did you find it? Because last time this worked, you see, I sent it through on a thing to everybody. Alright, so you found it on the Patreon page. That's fine. Someone said that they couldn't do it, but I was just getting a bit confused, you see, because it was available for as far as I can see. Maybe the problem's from their end, you know. But yeah, last time I did one of these, it was there was more people there and stuff like that. So I just wondered if there was a problem. I'd like a larger audience, but I don't really mind who tunes in, because like I say, this is for you guys who are like paid members. So sometimes I suppose it's better to have a smaller crowd. At least you guys are here. So let's have a little peep then, shall we, at some of these things. So just obviously we're all staring, at Bitcoin, working out, what's going on. So I just thought I'd just quickly just do something while we're here, a quick pitchfork tool, because if we are entering I suppose a downtrend or a mini bear market, this would be the tool to suggest that we're in it or out of it, and where the supports and resistances are. No audio. There should be audio. Both works links. You're not having audio, but I'm pretty sure there is audio. I actually went to film school. I should know that all this sort of stuff works. So, is there audio or not? I'm getting a feed. It should be, yeah. Alright, so we've got links, you've got audio, you can hear, audio's fine. So it sounds though the problem, if there is a problem, is from other people's ends, so that's reassuring. Right, so we're finding a little bounce here at the moment, but it's it's a little dicey at the moment. So just so we can quickly look at Bitcoin before I start taking, I suppose, requests and questions from you lot. This is something I would suggest. It's really easy to do, and I'd suggest you actually do it yourself. Get this on. It's a really simple tool, and from what I can see here, it's working. It does work. So we can kind of map this out here on this pitchfork. So just so you know how to do these, just in case you've never done them before, you go to the pitchfork tool here. Just a standard pitchfork. You measure the very top wick to the last big bottom, and then back up to the last big top. And when we've done that, what we see is obviously that's our starting position. We also see that we've got supports here. We also see quite clearly that there's a support there at the moment. This one's not quite so clear, but obviously the top is there and the top is there. So this pitchfork does seem to be of some relevance. So I'm going to keep this on my chart now. And the reason I'm keeping this is because if we are in a downtrend, we can have ideas of perhaps where to short from, where to take your profit on a short, or where to buy from, or where to go long from. So I use a number of different things like moving averages and and the Bollinger Band and a few other things, some previous supports and resistances, and then confluence between time frames. But this is something I'd do if there's ever a fix, and it would appear that there is a fix at the moment. We will know, if we are in a downtrend, because what we'll be seeing is just like we've seen here. We've got a high, now we've got a lower high. So if we continue to get lower highs on these bounces, then yeah, this pitchfork will be really relevant. And if we ever break out of it, we could at that point say the mini bear market or the bear market or whatever it is that we're in is now over, and we could look to take a longer long position for some more all-time highs. But for the moment, not really convinced that an all-time high is around the corner until we break that 40,000. And for those on my Telegram, we were talking about positions and things yesterday, and I can't remember who it was. I don't know if he was a member of the Patreon or not, but he was saying, I've gone short, and I was like, I think I'll join you on that one. So I took a short at 40,000. It was the obvious place, because yesterday was pretty crazy. We went straight through this and through this and these resistances here, all above major moving averages. So the only area really left short would have been here. And at the time, this was all going on in a day, and I'm usually pretty busy in the day, so I can't really get my my tools out. I've only really got my phone, so I did take a cheeky short, of which I've now closed at 40,000. So I'm not mega bearish on this, and there's a few reasons I think that this is playing out. First of all, massive parabolic top. It's inevitable that it has to come down at some point, even if it were just to consolidate, and this looks more at the moment like it could play out in a standard consolidation fashion. And if we were to look at the Dixie is rallied because everyone's expecting this stimulus bill, and this is my take on it, right? So everyone's expecting this stimulus bill. Biden's proposed a stimulus bill of I can't remember the exact figure. It might be close to 2 trillion, but it's definitely over 1 trillion. It's a lot. He's proposed it, but it's not gone through. He's saying this is what I want to do. So until that is signed, sealed, and delivered, there's no reason for the Dixie to drop any further. And if we look at this on a long-term time frame, on a monthly, what we see is, this is a monthly chart, right? So this was the last low that we found for the Dixie, so the dollar index, all right, 200 exponential moving average, cutting right through it there, and then we bounced. But remember, look at the timings here: December into January, February, March. This was 2017 into 18. This was when Bitcoin last found its all-time high. Now the reason, obviously, Bitcoin was overinflated at the time, was largely to do with this. It was a speculative asset. Everybody was going crazy. It had just become available to everyone to buy easily through Coinbase and Binance. All these things were just coming out towards the end of 2017. So it was basically, there's a lot of reasons for it to rally like that. But there's also another set of reasons why it got crippled so badly. So we're in a different situation now. Money gets printed from the Fed like mad because of the pandemic, and you can see where the tables turned on this. We were rallying with the Dixie. This is March, okay? March, massive spinning top candle there, and then since then, in order to prop up the markets, the Fed has printed money like no tomorrow, and this is what's happened to the dollar. Now the dollar, it can't go to zero. It won't go to zero. So look at this like any chart: support and resistance. And where do we find resistance on an all-time low? It was around about this box territory here, and this is where we found our first bounce on this first bit here, where we found bounces here and here. So it's only natural that that you've heard the phrase, even a dead cat bounces. This is likely a dead cat bounce, and people were expecting it to continue to go down further and further. In my opinion, it will do. It will go down further, but for the moment, it's finding a bounce. So if we're looking to find out where that bounce is going to go to, we can go to an hourly, and we can have a look. Actually, pretty much, we could either find ourselves getting rejected pretty much at this very top right now, towards maybe 91 at best, and if we do push through, we would be coming up to around 91.6, and that would obviously be bad for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's still, like I say, struggling within this area. I think we're going to struggle, and if we don't see any downside to this towards the end of today, we might not have the green weekends that we're used to. But throughout all of this, I've noticed that Bitcoin dominance has actually been going down. And the interesting thing about all of this is if we go to Bitcoin pairings, you can see that pretty much all of them are in the green, and you would never really see this. This is very unusual behaviour for altcoins to be in the green against Bitcoin. Look, I mean, pretty much every single one of them is in green, which is, I don't remember seeing that ever before. I've never seen Bitcoin go down 10% and almost every single altcoin be strong against it. I've never. I actually can't remember ever seeing that ever. So that's reassuring for the people like me who do prefer an altcoin to Bitcoin, because I like to chase those gains, and I just find it more interesting, to chart multiple charts than just to stare at the single one and try and make the most out of that one. Right, so yeah, 1.9 trillion. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, I don't get much chance to look at the news, but I did catch a figure. I thought it was between either 1.3 or 1.9. So yeah, there we go. So that's a big deal. It is a big deal. That would definitely have an impact on the dollar if it were to pass, which it probably will pass, but it's not. It's just been proposed at the moment. So until it's passed, I mean, this is the deal that we've got. We treat it like any other chart. Just treat it like any other chart. On the hourly, I should say, we do have a sell signal, reasonably strong sell signal by the looks of things there. So I would be looking for a little bit of downside, a little bit of respite from the dollar at the moment. But when it goes to the other time frames, they are still actually quite bullish in the short term. So we'll see where it goes. Like I say, I'd like to see this come down a little bit. Maybe just a tiny bit. If we can just go below this moving average here, it might lead us into a green weekend. And if it is a green weekend, I would expect at least Saturday to be really green for the altcoins. It might be like that anyway, with the way that the dominance is looking. Excuse me. Right, so shall we have a look at some altcoins then, shall we? I'm assuming RM, or whatever his name is these days, he put a request in for me to have a look at these things. I don't have a great deal of indicators on TradingView. I'm going to actually just go ahead and buy it again. I'm going to have to if I'm doing these live streams. I mean, I don't really have an excuse. But that's the beauty of having a Patreon, I suppose. I can use that Patreon money to reinvest into making the channel good. And in order to do that, I'll need a TradingView account. I used to have one, but when I moved directly and solely into cryptocurrency, I didn't really feel the need to, because Binance, and which is primarily where I trade with, and Bybit and all these other places, they've got everything you need. You don't need TradingView anymore. But I suppose I might as well get it again. So let's have a look. I mean, this one is very difficult for me to say anything about because the chart in itself is so small. What I would say is, though, it's definitely going down and it's consolidating from this pump. And at the moment, we don't have anything other than sell signals. The sell signals here are still pretty strong. This red here shows that basically the sells are even stronger and they're gaining ground. It's only when we start to see a respite on here, so we start to see the inverse of this red dissipate, turning up into the green, like the opposite of what you saw here, that I would take any of these buy signals on, and this is just an hourly of any significance at the moment. Any buy here would simply just be a scalpy buy, buy here up to there, and so on and so on. The sell signals are clearly stronger than the buys, so I don't have much to give you on this chart because it's so young. It's definitely just going to come down until it finds a base. And then I would imagine we'd probably wait a little while for an initial pump and then a consolidation from that, and before we have any kind of anything to go by. So I'd leave this one alone and see how it behaves. It's too young. It's too young for it'll be a gamble, I'm afraid, on this one. And the latter you asked me to look at actually looks reasonably good, which is Robonomics Network. So on this one, yeah, we had this. This is how I'm seeing. This is what I'm trying to say. What we see is this going down. You wouldn't want to be buying anything down here until you found a base, and then when you find a base, you find a pump, and then you reaccumulate around that pump, and then you look to buy it. And then, like I say, this is what we're looking to find. For any degree of certainty on a chart like this is actually something similar to this. So coming down, an initial pump, don't get worried if you missed it, and then wait for the reaccumulation of that pump to then get into the next one. So now that we've had these two pumps, this is, I suppose, a reaccumulation. Looks like a bullish reaccumulation, very choppy. Some of these, let's have a look. Just generally speaking, I don't know what the the volume is on something like this, but it can't be too much to be seeing such spiky moves. I mean, what was that? 63% move in a 4-hour candle, and then essentially straight back down again. So very, 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 very volatile. And in order to really make the most of something that's quite so volatile, I would try and play it safe and wait for us to come down again to touch this 200 exponential moving average. We've got sell signals here. Looks like the sell signals they're not particularly strong in compared to the buys, but because I imagine, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I imagine that the volume on this, the trading volume on this on a daily basis is actually very low, and which is why we're getting such strange signals when it comes to money coming in and out of this coin. That's what these greens represent. Greens represent money coming in, and the flow of this isn't very easy to chart, but it does actually look like it's dissipating a little bit. So I would wait for a better entry. You could wait for the 200 exponential to be touched, and then also expect a further drop. But it is in an uptrend. You don't need me to tell you that. Let's see if there's any kind of channel forming on this one. Not very clear. I'd rather try and get the bodies rather than the candles, than the candle wicks, because if there is an upwards channel, there's also something else to be wary of, is that a lot of the time upwards channels do break to the down. So if this one takes a turn for the worst, it's not very clear, but there could be a channel in here, but it's not very clear. Like I say, it can't be a very high liquid asset. I would, if I were to go in on something like this, I wouldn't put a great deal of money on it. I mean, there is this channel forming, and if the market took a turn for the worst, or even if it didn't, this could just drop off. I wouldn't really like to play with something like this, to be honest. Let's have a look at the higher term time frames, see what they're saying. So there's a buy signal here, but I suppose a relatively bought area. It's okay. I mean, it's okay. It's not the worst thing in the world. We're finding support, I suppose, at the moment at the centre of the Bollinger Band. Our last signal was a buy, despite dumping down the next day. It's definitely a victim of its own liquidity, I think, which is probably very low. Right. NEBL, is that on Binance? Let's have a look. Yes, it is, and it's doing very well today, and it's only tradable with Bitcoin. Hopefully this is going to be one of those charts which has a little bit more history, because if there isn't, it's always difficult for me to say what's going to happen. What am I looking at? Okay, so there is history here. Wow. Okay. Wow. What happened there? What's the trading volume on this? Not much. Well, I suppose it's not too bad, but it's not much. All right, let's dig deep. Right, I mean, what I would say is at the moment, it is looking okay. It's not an entry point as far as I'm concerned, but it's only recently found its bottom, and there's appeared to be a double bottom form there. This wick here, I mean, I don't know what happened there. Again, low volume token here. I mean, this is trading at next to zero down here, but indicators are turning up. We're at the top of the Bollinger Band here. I would imagine we're probably going to have plenty of opportunity to buy this back at lower levels, but there does appear to be a double bottom form here, and since then obviously it's doubled in value. Quite a high read on the money flow index at this very moment, so again, just to confirm again that I wouldn't be comfortable going in at this one right now, but due to the double bottom, if you are already in this, you might be in it at a nice place, but I expect a retrace probably down to the green 50 exponential around 2000 sats, so that's a significant retrace if it were to do that. But still, holding above there is it's basically showing a change of behaviour, that it's reclaiming its bullish intentions. It's not closed above there for a long time. From what I can see here, it's basically been dying off. So that's a good sign. The fact that we're above there 2 days in a row. Maybe we come up to around about 3,400 sats. Classic area for it to be rejected from. 200 exponential. This is basically the fight for the change of behaviour. So a bounce. This will be the trading range, I would imagine, from 2,000 to 3,400. So it's a decent trading range in itself, and only when we really close above there, and it's something that looks like this is, I mean, look at these. It's very spiky, extremely spiky. Oh, and you can even see, it's tried in the past to get above here, a rejection, and I can't explain that. But yeah, I mean, it looks like it could be getting ready, I suppose, for a prolonged attempt of an uptrend. And again, if we're going into an alt season, which we may still be going into that alt season. This it might be worth keeping an eye on. Again, everything's gained against Bitcoin today, despite Bitcoin dropping. So everything's gained. So it's your guess is as good as mine. Low liquidity could be good gains, really big gains. I wouldn't put too much money on something with such low volume though. Right, what else should we have a peep at? Polkadot. Is that what you want me to look at or not? I was part of this, wrecked. Alright, unlucky. Can we have a look at ADA against Ethereum? Oh, I'm assuming this is... Alright, yeah, I know who you are, mate. Yeah, of course. You want to find out an appropriate bot trading system, don't you? Don't we all? So these will be 2 top caps. Volume's nice, very nice. We might have to look at ADA after this separately, because what I'm getting concerned about a little bit about trading against Ethereum is that Ethereum is in a very particular moment right now where if it does break out, it will be phenomenal. And I mean, like, once it reaches its all-time high and surpasses that, I wouldn't be surprised to see like 100% gain from Ethereum, which would basically mean that a chart like this would get wrecked. Yeah, if you were bot trading it, you would be wrecked. When we're looking at the chart itself, there is a kind of a toppy pattern form here, isn't there? A peak. So it would be reasonable to assume that we might be trying to attempt a peak, but the moving averages don't suggest that that's what we want to do. At the moment, we haven't got any kind of golden cross forming here on the daily, so if you were to try something out on this one, I don't think it would be good long term, because I think Ethereum is more bullish than Cardano. So it's a gamble, but when we're looking at such explosive moves like this, let's have a look at how they formed in the past. So there wasn't really any telltale sign that was going to happen that time. When was this? So this was in the main breakout. I remember this when the bull market started in 2019, when it picked up pace. ADA went crazy. It went crazy. It was a top performer. It was better than most, and then it tailed off, and everyone, and I, including me, I just forgot all about it. So what happened on this time? So down, rejection, reclaimed the green 50, sailed above the 10, all the way to reclaim. So we had time, I suppose, to get in on this one. So let's look a little bit closer. We would have had time to have spotted this. So look how we were basically reclaiming these areas that we'd lost before. So first of all, getting above the green 50, and also all major moving averages, including the Bollinger Band, sailing on top of the 10 exponential, which basically took us above the 200, which inevitably formed the golden cross, which then got played out. So classic self-fulfilling prophecy, I suppose, of a pump when you see a golden cross. So yeah, we got a clue that time round. That wasn't out of the blue on that pump. So what are we doing now is the question. So we are coming back to life. We are riding the 10s exponential, I suppose, reclaiming the 50. It's a little messier than it was on the last occasion. It wasn't quite as clear as it was, but that said, you know, it could be good. What we need to do, I suppose, is see ourselves maybe not immediately, but soon reclaim the 200 exponential. And if we look like these are going to converge into each other, so we see this green, especially the green and the white there, which is the 50, the green 50 exponential and the 200. You see these start to converge, because at the moment this one's, you know, the 200 is still down facing, so technically it's resistance the entire time until we're above it. And when we're above it, we have every chance, I suppose, to call that a support or a potential support. But for the moment, you know, we're 75% done in some form of confirmation, but none of these I wouldn't say any of these other indicators particularly show any kind of strength. The money flow index is trickling up nicely, I suppose, but to me it would be a bit of a gamble, especially against Ethereum. I've stopped doing Ethereum pairs because Ethereum is just too strong, and you know, think about it in the psychology of new people coming into the market, right? So they look at the top things and they hear about the best things, and the best things at the moment are Bitcoin and Ethereum. So where's the money likely to go? The massive influx of retail money. Where's the interest? You know, what are people going to want? It's going to be the top ones. So to me, it'd be too much of a gamble, I'm afraid, to go on that one. And Litecoin. You just want me to look at Litecoin in general? I'm happy to do that. Or should we have a look at Litecoin to Ethereum? I don't like it. I don't like that one. Nah. Litecoin's been particularly weak throughout all of this. I expected more from Litecoin. Let's have a look at it on Tether if that's something you're interested with. It's not been very strong. I expected more. So daily we've got our golden cross at least. I mean, it's not weak, but I did expect more from it. Last all-time high area, you could call this our support for the moment, a make or break support, because it comes into our top zone there. And these supports, I suppose, around here. So hopefully we'll stay at this level right now and class that as a support zone, and then we can move from there. But just like Bitcoin, it's acting just like Bitcoin, and I bet you we could have a reasonably decent pitchfork in here as well. No, we can't actually. That one doesn't work, does it? It doesn't work at all, and I would be very concerned if that was its trajectory. Litecoin to me is, there's so many other coins out there. If you're going to go for a top cap coin, you go for the top, you know, the top performers, and Ethereum is by far, you know, it's got, you know, it's looking really good. I wouldn't really want to bet against it. OM, is that on here? OM, what do you mean? Do you mean OMG? I'm assuming. We can have a look at that while we're doing it, or while I'm waiting for confirmation from you. Let's have a peep. It looks good as far as the chart is concerned, in many ways. I mean, that would have been March, I imagine. Yeah, March pump. Yeah, these are the sort of things we look for, you know, when trying to get into a coin that basically just goes down. So big pump, a reaccumulation, and a really healthy one. All right. So golden cross back here, reaccumulated across the green 50 exponential, and then basically just showed significant strength above there. Didn't even really attempt to break down beneath it. Normally in a reaccumulation you'll see a zigzag pattern, so this is a really strong one, and then launched from there. So what are we doing this time? So this is more standard style reaccumulation, where we are zigzagging up and above it, and even going down below the 200 exponential, but still not negated the golden cross that took place all the way back here last May. So it almost like Chainlink, right? Chainlink did this the year before. So Chainlink had a golden cross which has not been negated since. It's carried on ever since. So actually I don't mind the look of this at all. I quite like it. because of that. You know, it's been bullish ever since then, despite having, you know, let's measure this out from that golden cross. I mean, it'd be fair to say that we'll measure it from part way of the price action, 500% move, and then a massive move back down, 79% down. Not very often will you get a 79% retracement and avoid getting a death cross as a result of that. So we've done that, so I like it. It's reaccumulating. I can't give you a price target on it, but I would imagine over time, you know, provided we don't get that death cross, that we will take out this high. But I can't give you a time on that one. Let's have a look at some of these other indicators that I like to use. Okay, so we did get the conversion baseline cross on the weekly. We've got a fresh conversion baseline cross to the up on the daily. If we could reclaim, you know, these areas of, you can see how the itchy cloud has become resistance to us here. If we can reclaim areas like $3.58 and stay above there, then we have every chance to turn bullish on this one. Decent bullish moves. From the way that this has behaved in the past, it's likely to behave like that again. So that's not too bad. The money flow index is a bit messy. RSI is also quite messy, but just judging by the price action and the itchy cloud and the fact that we're still bullish since, you know, a year of price action, over a year, and that's not over a year, but a year of price action basically getting on for that. I like it. I'm assuming that's what you wanted me to look at. You have a look at ZIL. Let's have a look at ZIL then, shall we? It's so interesting how alts have behaved throughout this Bitcoin crisis of the last 24 hours or so. Right, so again, looking at this on the daily, golden cross all the way back here in May. Very similar behaviour to the last one we looked at, but the big rally has taken place already. So as you can see, the moving averages are crossing to the down. Fresh Ichimoku cloud cross, conversion baseline cross. I would wait this one out. I'd be prepared to, you know, be wrong on this one and let it pump. For the fact that I don't think it's ready to pump at this point already. We've already pumped, and we pumped in a healthy way. Look, we sailed up these nice and slowly before it ramped up and essentially blew its top off. Now we're going to consolidate from there, and a consolidation of a move like this, it was difficult to work out where to measure it from, really, because it's essentially been bullish for quite a while. We could say we'll measure it from the last time we reclaimed this green 50 exponential, which is their 400% move, and our retracement so far has been to the price we're at today, 33. So I would probably imagine I would expect a little bit more of a retracement, just because it's moved up so much and it's consolidating from there. Just give it time and see how it behaves on the green 50 exponential moving average. If these moving averages start to cross below it, I wouldn't get too concerned, but I wouldn't want to pick it up, you know, until it's shown this exponential moving average as you know, support, and then a continuation of support like we've had in the past. So we had this big rally up here. You can see that we treated that green 50 as a support zone, had another little rally from it, and then dumped in March, obviously, as everything did, and then reclaimed it, more or less reaccumulated, and stayed above it. So for the moment, I think the consolidation is still playing out on that one. That's how I would choose to play that one. Don't be afraid of missing out. Be afraid of making a bad call or getting in too early. That's how I like to see it. If I beat around the bush and don't get involved, and then it pumps the following week, so be it. You know, there's a million. Well, there's not a million, but there's a few hundred options out there for you to look at. There's always another opportunity. Mantra. What's the ticker for that? I'll find it on TradingView, and I can have a look for you. We just have a look at Ethereum then, shall we? Yes, let's do that. because if alts are strong right now, which they seem to be in comparison to Bitcoin, they appear to be strong at the moment. If we're looking at the Bitcoin dominance chart, I mean, and just from what I showed you of all the alts basically in the green in compared, in with their Satoshi pairing, I would imagine that the king of alts is going to be pretty strong. So let's have a look at what's going on here. I imagine there's some kind of pattern playing out with Ethereum that's helping all the other alts. It looks to be some form of right. So from wick to wick, it kind of looks to me like a symmetrical triangle, which basically means that we're going to be in this until it decides which way to go. So we're literally smack bang in the middle of it. So as far as making a decision on it right now is concerned, I would say I can't and I couldn't. And the way to play this is that you wouldn't make a move on it until it decides which way it goes. The fact is, at the moment we're above the center of the Bollinger Band, so the odds are in the favor for it to break to the break up, but it doesn't. But it could also, before that happens, come all the way down to the bottom here, which is basically just over 1,000. This is upwards facing, so it would be more and more every day. So would be the resistance. So I would. This is pretty easy to work this one, I suppose. Get yourself this little triangle, and because it's equal both ways, the chances of it breaking up and down are more or less equal. I would say that it's more likely to break up and out of this because of the portion of the Bollinger Band that we're in. But as far as an entry point is concerned, you could be brave and try and catch it at the bottom of this support, which would more or less come at the bottom of the Bollinger Band if we ever get there. And if we break out of it, you could try going long on the breakout, because if we do break out of this one, I would imagine that the all-time high would be hit. And you've heard what my thoughts on this generally. My thoughts are that it's going to be pretty significant move when it does break out. So that's how I see Ethereum. Is pretty much that's the deal. At the moment we're deciding which way we're going to go, just as Bitcoin's deciding which way it wants to go, and we take our position when we either break out or break down from it. That's that. If we were to break down from it, though, just to give you some ideas, probably 850 to 800 would be my first target, roughly speaking, for a short, and then maybe a bounce from there. It depends on the nature of the market. It depends on a lot of things, but yeah, you could go short at that level and try and catch it around 850 to 800. Don't get greedy. Difficult shorting in a bear market, in a bull market, which is what we are. So it's always better to try and go long where possible, because the sky is effectively the limit, whereas you can't short it down to zero, can you? It will bounce, and it will bounce hard and fast. Right. My resolution, I've heard this before. My resolution, it should be high. It should be high. Let's have a look. I've got my little thingy here. Hang on. As far as resolution's concerned, oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, 480p for some reason is about as high as it goes. I'll have to sort this out on my live stream next time. It would mean me stopping the live stream now and fiddling around with the bits and bobs. Is it too blurry for everybody? Is it a problem? Anyway, while I'm waiting for another problem to come back to me about the way that I conduct these live streams, which is completely valid, let's have a look at Phantom. So this is something that I'm really liking, and if I had the available funds, they're all, for my bot trading. I don't put any more money into it. I like the way that I've built the bot trading up, and all my money from the bot trading through bot trading. So I'm not going to put any more money into it. But at the moment, they're all riding quite nicely, and they're doing very well. There's only one of them which has been a complete disaster. But slowly but surely we're edging back into my grids. But if I were to set up a bot, I like Phantom to Binance Coin. I do like that for a setup. So, and I'm looking at this. This is to me looking like it wants to make a massive move. And for the moment, it's nice and choppy. So it would be okay to set it up on this. Now it's going to appear to be more volatile on the Tether pairing. We'll have a look at the Binance pairing in just a minute. But as far as buy signals are concerned, the money's been flowing in. We've had a fresh buy signal here on the daily. I think this is one of those alts that, almost unlike sort of like the ones that I've traded recently, and that are still going, like FET and CRV. They have rallied today, and they've not cared about the direction of the market. So because of that, some of these tokens like this have the opportunity to do that, and I think this one might be one of those. So I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll have a look at Phantom to BNB. I'm assuming some people are interested in this, but I'm interested in it. So at the moment, we've got a fresh buy signal here. Money looks like it wants to be increasing on this one. We also had a decent buy signal down here, which would have been the stronger one. This one down here is the last classic buy here, and you can see obviously that it would have worked out, which is this tiny little portion down here, but it corresponded to essentially a decent buy, and that so far will have ridden 57% so far against Binance Coin. So both assets have been going up over that period. So as far as your money would be concerned, if you'd have done that, it would have been more. It would have been much more. But for a bot trade, I like it. At the moment, you can see that we're being rejected from this 200 exponential, and it's only a matter of time before you break out and above it. We're getting little signs here that there is a chance that might happen at some point. But if it were a bot, and one of the good things about bots is that you have grids, it means that you make the most out of the ups and the downs, and so it actually, a lot of the time you want there to be down because you want your grids to be filled over and over and over again. So there's nothing wrong with it going up and down. We are above the centre of the Bollinger Band after a decent buy signal down here, so I like it. I think this would be a good bot setup against Binance Coin, with a reasonable sized grid to start with trailing up, because the volatility on this could be quite big. If we have a look from that wick down there to where the Bollinger Band would be, so that would be a 25, we could say 25% possible drop back down. But I'm not really feeling that would happen, but it could, because technically we're still bearish. Not bearish, but we're not bullish until we break above it. And when we do break above it, when we reclaim that zone there, we will be pretty good. We'll be pretty good to go. CNS, come on, man. You really want me to look at CNS? Is there something to look at today? I need to get my reading glasses out to see candles of that size. Are you really sure you want me to look at that? Because I will. Obviously, you're a member of the Patreon. I'm at your disposal, but I don't think there's much I can say about it. I don't even know if it's on TradingView, but interesting to see if it is. It is. It's on TradingView. It'll be very interesting to see what this says. Well, there is no buy signals on it. I can tell you that much. It's gone up a little bit since the last time I looked at it. Let's go to the 4-hourly. It's just bearish. It's just bearish. And every time you think that there's going to be something take place to it, it won't. I'm surprised there's any money left in it to give these reads. You can see how these reads are all over the place. It basically means there's no money in it. But thanks for bringing it back to my attention. It's always nice to see what's going on. Look these mean zero money. These little flat candles on 4 hour means that nothing happened for a period of a day or more. So I hope that's pleased you. Right, what else should we have a look at? Ocean to BNB wrecked. Yeah, it's wrecking me. Let's just enjoy the fact that I can't. I'm not perfect. I've had this bot going for this is 12 hourly, so this is getting on for pretty much the entire time I've had it. But I believe in Ocean. All right, I believe this. This is a lesson that I need to reteach myself. Is that sometimes I need to avoid my own hype. Right, I'm not really a fundamentals person, but I do look into the coins that I trade, and sometimes the promotion gets the better of me, and I do honestly think that Ocean is going going to do some big moves. I'm pretty confident it's going to be a very big performer this year. I'm very confident that it's going to explode. But that confidence is obviously based on its fundamental value. The chart itself, I knew was going to come down to like the 35 cent or lower area, and I thought that when we visit that for the first time, that would be the only time. But it appeared not to be the case. So yeah, I burned myself. But like I say, I kept the bot on, not because I'm stubborn or anything like that. I'm a little bit lazy. You've obviously seen that I've done quite well with the bots, and so a lot of this, in fact, almost all of the money that's in these bots is through profit. So this is pretty much all profit riding. And then what happens? I only just opened this one yesterday. This was opened with the profit that I've made from these bots here, so I can afford to be a bit more lazy about it and not quite as rigorous and precise as I was when I first started it, when I was trying to build that profit up. Now I've got the profit and the bots are basically generating their own profit, and then when there's enough of it, I create a new bot, and it'll be like a snowball effect, and I can actually sit back and just not care as much. But if this had been my bot and my only bot, I would definitely have closed it down, reinvested it, maybe even set the bot up again, but at a lower level. But I wouldn't have closed it. But I completely understand that would have been the right thing to do, because it's not been making me any money. I've even considered closing it down and taking the Ocean out and putting it into my HODL account, because, like I say, I am bullish on Ocean, and I kind of feel like it's a wasted opportunity to lock the Ocean in on a bot, because it's not going to be making the most of the long-term projection that I have for Ocean. But yeah, it's wrecked me, so don't worry, we got wrecked together, but I kept mine on. I'm pretty sure it'll work out for the best. Link to Ethereum. Now I'm not so sure as there is an actual link to Ethereum ticker, because I was speculating about this before there was any kind of move. I might be wrong. There is one. I think it must have been linked to BNB then. I was looking at then. For some reason it wasn't linked with something. Maybe it was BNB. Yeah, Link doesn't have a BNB pairing for some bizarre reason, but it does have a link to Ethereum. So I was talking about this ages ago when I was, I suppose, really into the bots, and sort of just it's kind of new to me, and I was thinking about long-term bot. Let's go crazy long-term bots, and this would have been one of them, and I still think it could be. But with Ethereum being so strong and Link being so, this is a burst bubble here, right? And actually, this is the first time I've ever seen a death cross take place with Link. I don't think we've had a death cross on Tether, but we've got one here. So this to me would suggest that as much of a good idea it is in theory, because of the projections that that everybody has on Link, including me, that is going to be really good. I think we shouldn't underestimate the power of Ethereum, and as tempting as it is to trade the two against each other, I think Ethereum's turned a corner now where it's going to be something different, maybe even the best, as far as altcoins and moves concerned. I think it might end up being a bit jaw dropping, to be honest with you, and hard for it's definitely hard for me to even get my head around how big and how high it can go. I was thinking about it just today actually, and I thought that there was a lot more total supply with Ethereum, but there's you have to quote me if I'm wrong, but I think there were like 118 million, which sounds a lot on the back of things, but when everyone and their mother's now getting into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, it's actually not a great deal, considering what we've seen happen to Bitcoin recently, and what could still be around the corner for Bitcoin. I think Ethereum could easily I think it could make 10,000 by the end of the year if this bull market continues in the way that it does, and it attracts the retailers the way that it does. So it would be a bit risky, and as far as the chart's concerned, it doesn't look anything special at the moment. Clearly we've had a big move now, but the chart is telling me that it's not going to be as strong as Ethereum in the long run. It used to be, but Ethereum wasn't great. I mean, it's always been consistent in a way, but it really has turned a corner recently, and it's I think it's going to destroy a lot of these pairs. How did I need to learn how to get a bot. Well, you know, I use Bitsgap, right? And Bitsgap is, I've found, you know, I messed around with a few different bots, and I'm actually doing a video. It's in the making at the moment, so it's through another exchange actually. It's like a sponsored video. They're giving me a few quid, and I'm going to make it clear that it's a sponsored video, because that's the rules, right? But before, about 2 or 3 months ago, my personal situation, right, I've got 2 kids. They're really demanding. They're very little. One's a baby basically, and I don't want to miss out on time with them. And I like to chat for fun. You know, it's my nature, I suppose, to be really geeky and trying to, you know, spot patterns and stuff. So I like to still do my TA, but I miss the moves. I found myself missing moves all the time. You know, I'd watch them play out in real time while I was, you know, hushing a baby to sleep, or, you know, all this nonsense that you do when you have kids. So I got into the idea of bot trading, so I tried a few different ones out, free ones to start with, and then I looked at Bitsgap, and Bitsgap, one of the main things that I liked about it is its interface. It just made things so much easier to work out and to use. So I did use some free ones, and I will be making a video. I'm halfway through making this video. I'm just waiting for the results to come through, but it is a sponsored video. But you'll see that grid trading is becoming more popular, and some exchanges actually have it built into the exchange, and I actually think it's probably only a matter of time before Binance build it into their exchange. But yeah, you can get free ones, but the interface is non-existent. You don't see the grids like this, and it's messy and it's confusing. But Bitsgap is nice and clear. But the drawback to Bitsgap is that there's a monthly subscription to it, so you have to pay for the service, so on a monthly basis. And if you want to make the most of it, you have to really at least go for the advanced package or the pro package. So the pro package is like $100, I think. But obviously you make your money back on that one if you're doing it like me anyway. Even me doing it lazily, you know, you're making it back. Oh, I mean, just this bot is 24 hours old almost, and it's paid for itself. It's paid for the whole package for the month, you know. But you can go a lower one, and the main difference is, I mean, I wouldn't take advantage of using 15 bots, which is what I've got access to, but it would. There's a trading cap on it if you go to the steps down from the pro. There's no cap on this, so I can trade as much as I like, you know, the volume that would be. But I think the advanced is $250,000, I think, is your trading cap. I wouldn't bother with the basic package, because you'll hit your cap almost instantly. But they're relatively easy to learn. I've got tutorials on my on my YouTube, so they're all in a little playlist as well, so you can go there and have a look. But there are free options for you. It's just the problem you will find if you're new to it. It'll be even more confusing than it needs to be, because you don't see what's going on. You have to think about where the grids are, and you don't see it play out in real time like this, which is extremely useful, I find. Especially if you're learning it, which I was learning it. Yes, it's still relatively new to me. I've only been doing it 3 months, but it's become a big part of my trading now. It's been very useful, in fact. Right. Is this still working? Sorry, I wasn't sure if this was still working. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm just checking it if it's still working. I don't know if you're still there or if this is actually working. Right, it is still working. Sorry, I got a blank screen there. I wasn't sure if it was still working. Right, I am still here. There's nothing wrong. Don't worry. Right, let's carry on. Yeah, I'm all right. Don't worry about me. I just thought for some reason that the stream had cut off. I've got some internet problems around here. Someone kicked the booster and by accident, and it's kind of half broken. Right. Let's have a peep. Anything on Dash let's have a look at Dash then, shall we? Taking a little hit today, but nothing too serious. Still okay on this daily, I'd say. Ichikawa cross there, which is good, above the 10 exponential, which is good. Obviously a massive blow off top peak here. That's a big move, actually, a really big move. That's just a 1 day move. Big move there. So perhaps we're looking at consolidation for a period. Let's have a look at Dash on here. A sell here on the 4 hourly, probably consolidating, I would imagine, for a little bit. Sell on the daily. I would wait this one out a little bit. It's going to consolidate, I would say. 4 hourly 200 exponential probably will do it for a next entry point. It's upwards facing, so probably we might be able to catch it at that kind of low. It's a difficult one to say because at the moment we are at the what could be a downtrend, but when you have a move quite so big as that, and then we break down beneath the center of the Bollinger Band on the 4 hourly, I suppose it doesn't look particularly strong as in like as another entry point. Fresh sell signal today here, but the money's still in here, the money's picking up. It's too early to say where to get in from. So the 200 exponential on the 4 hourly plus the center of the Bollinger Band on the daily both come in at around about $108. So I'd wait and see just to see if it came to that, because after this big move here we came all straight back down, sold off on that day, and then the following day all the way back down to the center of the Bollinger Band. So I have every reason to expect that we will come to test it again, and then you could take the chance, if you like, of buying it around that level. Again, this is no financial advice, but that's how I would play it. You don't expect a continuation from anything that moves straight up like that and straight back down. Wait for some form of consolidation to play out. So yeah, about $108. But again, these are upwards facing. These will change every day. 110 or so. You got to look at it for the center of the Bollinger Band. The 20 daily moving average is where I'd be looking at it, which also corresponded to, I think, the 200 exponential here, didn't it? Yeah, so thereabouts. You can see we're dripping slowly below here, but I mean the chart's good. It is good. It's just finding that entry point which would be the problem. And even if you were to go in here, you'd have to expect a drop of another 12%, which isn't the end of the world, I suppose. It's not the end of the world, considering that this could be still pretty bullish, but it has made its move. Wait for the consolidation, see if you can find an entry point a bit lower, if that's your bag. If that's for me trading it, I wouldn't buy it here. I'd wait it out, give it a bit of time. Let's have a look on the weekly. It's not a very old chart, is it, on the weekly? But yeah, we got conversion baseline cross here, and a weekly test as well here, 1, 2. So yeah, I mean it's good. What's that down there again? Yeah, look, the 10 exponential moving average also coming in at that level, just above $106. So I think it could come down to there. But if it did come down to there, that would be a very strong buy, because there's 3 time frames that come in at the same zone. Strong support on the 200, also the center, the Bollinger, and the 10 exponential on the weekly. So yeah, that would be a strong place to get in there. What percentage of my portfolio do you put into my bot? Well, it was a very tiny piece. It was a very tiny piece. It was basically just, I put in like 1,200 quid, $1,200 or thereabouts, and it's grown now. It's done like a 10x now, in a really short space of time. And I'm not saying that that's a normal thing. It's not normal for that. I can't. That was because when I started this, what would have been like 8 or 9 weeks ago. I've lost track, but I remember counting it out from the video that I first put out when I first deposited the money, and so it'd probably be about 55 days ago. But I can't be exactly specific. But yeah, in that period, I've 10x'd it. But look at what's happened in the last 55 days to the market. It's been really good, hasn't it? It's been strong. So not only is my bots and the crypto that I've been using, both pairs have been going up in value while they make bot profit in the form of more crypto. You can see how it's an accumulating effect, and then especially if you do what I've done, which is reinvest the profit into more bots and then just keep that as a rolling thing. So every time you get, the way I'm doing it, it's got to be about 1 or 2 grand's worth. That goes back into another bot, and so on and so on and so on. If I continue to do that throughout the rest of the year, it will snowball into like a crypto factory. Basically, these bots are just going to be spitting out crypto every day. At the moment I'm just churning out Binance coin, because Binance coin is relatively stable in comparison to the rest. It's a strong coin in itself, and my analysis on Binance coin for the projection of the year is roughly about $100, and I know it could easily surpass that, but it's not like trading it with Bitcoin or with Ethereum, which is probably going to do a lot more than that. So you want your base pair to be weaker than the pairs that you trade with, and for me, I like to trade with pairs for a reasonable period of time. Keep my bots on for like minimum 2 weeks, ideally longer, because I don't want the constant maintenance of these bots. If you're on my Telegram, you see people going on about how people have been they set bots up and they close them almost instantly. They don't give it time to mature, and everyone will have their own strategy, but that's not my strategy. So the reason I did the bots is to have something that's low maintenance and limit my exposure, and be happy with a drop as much as I am happy with a pump, because that's how the bot makes money, up and down. It needs to do both. If it just goes up, that's good, but it needs to come down as well for me to fill those grids up. So yeah, I've rambled a bit there, but yeah, basically I started with about 1,200, and now I'd say with the value that's in there at the moment, I don't know what that would be as far as my exposure to the whole market. It's probably still only about 10% of my spot account. Maybe I've got crypto coming out of my ears at the moment in all kinds of ways. So I'm not a millionaire, by the way, just to let you know. I'm not a millionaire, but I could be at the end of this year, maybe, on paper. Right, so what else are we looking at? What's the average trading time on your bots? Well, I suppose I've just answered that, but we can have a look at my bots if you like. Like I say, there's not a great deal to look at the moment. Some of this one's been going for 30 days. Right, so this is my oldest bot that I've got at the moment. This is the Algo to BNB, and you can see this dropped out of range significantly for a little bit, and it didn't bother me because the way that I saw this chart is that this is going to be the range generally, and if you wanted to play a bot safer, you would expand the range. You would play this safer than I would have done. So you would have had, you would have put your bottom grids down here, for instance, to capture a possible retest of these lows. That would have been the sensible thing to do. But for me, I wanted to make more money faster, and the way to do that is to expose yourself to more risk, which means less grids, because each one of these grids is a buy and a sell order, basically. And so I wanted them to be heavily loaded. So when I set this one up, I set it up with basically 95 Binance coins, and I spread that over 13 grids, which is nothing. It's nothing. Which means that just over a very small area, I've got heavily loaded buy and sell orders, rather than spreading that over a larger space which might not get used. and that's how you make the money faster if you want to use bots like that. But again, what that does is it exposes itself to more risk. So you could argue that if I had have spread my risk down here, I would have made the use of those grids, and I probably would have come out with maybe as much or more as I have done, considering that I've played this range here, but I could have played this one down here. Would have made probably more bot profit. But I like to try and make faster money, but I expose myself to more risk. The beauty of a bot is that you limit your risk, and you can be comfortable with a move down as much as you are with a move up, because you know that during this whole, all this price action is generating you this bit, which is the important part, the bot profit. So look at it like a factory, a crypto factory. You know how people stake coins? They lock tokens up, and they're exposing themselves to up and down in the market. They could have sold at the top if it had peaked, if they hadn't locked it up, but they've locked it up, and what they get in return is, well, some of these things are pretty rubbish, really. If you think about what you could do with a bot, you compare that to staking, there's no comparison. Essentially what you're doing is you're locking these up. I mean, you can unlock them at any time. You can close the bot, sell it, and sell everything. But what you're doing is you're locking a portion away to be traded with this bot, and out comes, $1,500 in 30 days. You can't get staking rewards like that. So look at it in that way. As far as average daily trading time, is there's a property that tells you how much of the day that's actually traded, not how long it's been going for. I'm not really sure what you mean. I mean, the bots trade 24 hours a day, if that's what you mean. It doesn't need to sleep. Crypto doesn't sleep either, so it's trading all day, every day. It's not like commodities or stocks. It's always going constantly. This is a 5-minute chart. These are the buys and sells that it's been doing. It's always going constantly, if that's what you mean. I'm not entirely sure what you mean. But I would definitely recommend it as like a part of your tool belt. I always try and say, to people, on my Telegram and YouTube and stuff, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Have a spot account, have a hodl account as well, have a bot account, and have a margin account. And each one of those has their own benefits. You know what I mean? All hodlers, are going to be happy if they were hodling Bitcoin. All hodlers, that's a winning strategy. That's proven itself to be a winning strategy in itself. All right. I have a hodl account where I bank crypto and just leave it. That's a winning strategy over a long period of time. Bots, winning strategy, over a medium stretch of time in a different capacity. Margin, obviously, for when you're very sure, can be very profitable for a very small amount of time. And spot trading, neither here nor there, but that's my preferred method, is spot trading. Would you say setting up stop loss on short-term bots was counterproductive? I found out the hard way today. It actually closed the bot and not paused it. Yeah, I wouldn't use a stop loss on it. No, I wouldn't. But that's because I haven't set these up on a whim. I've apart from this one, of course. But no, I wouldn't have a stop loss on them, no, because everything that I set up, I have a plan for in the long term. The way I look at charts on a long term, on a daily and on a weekly generally. That's how I chart the chart, and they're the better ways to do it. So if I see something that's going to do a decent move on a weekly, eventually, I don't need a stop loss, because I know that the end goal is going to be a good one. I don't go in for a chart which is uncertain. I don't need a stop loss on them now. The idea is really you're trying to find a range, and once you've found that range, you set your bot up. So it's similar to having a buy order and a sell order in itself. Apart from you've got a buy range and a sell range. So I don't see the benefit of having a stop loss on a bot. No. If you have made a bad call, and you've realised that it's a bad call and you want to get out, then you can get out whenever you want. You don't need a stop loss, really. In my opinion, I wouldn't use one anyway. Is that a 4L column? Looks like it tells you how much of the day the bot is able to make trades. It's on 24 hours, but the market isn't moving. It can't make trades. Moving across your grids, that is. No, I still don't really know what you mean. The bot can make trade. Are you thinking because I'm looking at this on specific time frames that it makes trades all the time? It's not bothered about time. It's bothered about grid spacing. Look, you can see this is a 1 minute chart. So we've got a grid here. There would have been a grid there, a grid there, a grid there, a grid there, and whenever it crosses these grids, it makes a buy and a sell, a buy, 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 and then back up and a sell and a sell and a buy and a sell and a buy and a sell. It doesn't care about time. It cares about the grids, which are basically buy and sell orders. Hopefully that's what you mean. Not sure if I've looked at BTC, but at the start it does look to go further from here. Well, it's picking up a little bit at the moment, isn't it? I did look at BTC. What I did is I've put this in here, this pitchfork, which is what I'm going to consider to be relevant until proven otherwise, which unfortunately at the moment is downwards facing. But I'm not saying in any way that I'm bearish on it after this little move that we've had at the moment. This is nothing, but it doesn't mean that we can't consolidate, and this could be a consolidation pattern that we will be able to get the edge on if it were to break out of here, and that would to me suggest that there'll be an all-time high around the corner. So this is my take on BTC at the moment. At the moment, yeah, we've found ourselves having a lower high here, but we've got supports on this second to bottom, this bottom zone, I suppose, of the pitchfork. We got one today at the center of the pitchfork, so it's not the worst thing in the world. It's just something that's going to guide me into deciding whether or not we are going bullish, and if we are going bullish, it will be because we've broken out of the pitchfork. That's how I see it. Oh, average daily profit because it's printed above. No, I don't think so. You just no. I see what you mean. If that's what you mean, here, average daily profit. Yeah. I suppose it's just an average. I suppose. Yeah. This is a new interface. I haven't really paid too much attention to it because I've been a bit lazy with the bot profit. It never used to look like this until just this week, so I've not really looked at it. But yeah. I suppose you get an average daily. Here, so some of these pairs have been a lot better in the past, but this one I only set up yesterday, and it's gone full steam ahead. It's done really well, and probably will do really well still. In fact, it's making higher highs every time I look at it. So, and again, this wouldn't, I've got a spot hold on this one. I didn't think it was going to do something like this. I thought it was going to play within a different range. I set this up in a range down here, thinking that I was going to get more of this area before a big move, but I didn't. It just exploded overnight and made all these buy and sells. Yeah, send me a picture. Yeah, send me a picture of that'll be better. I think what this is, and again, you're better off asking Ivan, who's in the group. He's like one of the promotional guys for Bitsgap, because he's basically, he's like a major part of my he's a good lad. He knows everything. He was always like my go-to man, but since the interface has changed, I've not really paid any attention to it. He'll explain it, but essentially, from what I can see here, I mean, this is just giving you a breakdown of what it is that you'll have made in a day, over the period of time that you've had it running. So this is 24 hours almost. So this is all very new to me. Look, this is just saying pump now. I mean, this is all extremely new to me. I don't know what's, I haven't paid attention to it. So what this is doing now is, because I've got my trailing up set on, it's creating more grids as it goes up. So it's not even able to sell these at the moment because it's unsure if it's a scam pump, basically. It's not sure exactly what it's going to do. It's good. It's really good. I mean, I really like it. I mean, this is the this bot I've set up as a classic bot because I knew that there'd be a pump eventually, and it's supposed to be more profitable on classic bot if you're expecting a breakout. So again, I'm not like the best bot person out there, but I've had some very good results from it. So if you're looking to get into them, definitely you're in the right place, especially on my Telegram chat, because you can speak to Ivan about it all. He works with Bitsgap. He can talk to you all about it. But for me personally, it's worked out really well. I mean, you can see my profits here, and these haven't even been that successful. They've been pretty lame in comparison to some of the other people on my Telegram who have charted it out better than me. I'm not the best at it, definitely not. I'm not the best. I just had a really good timing when I started doing it, basically. I mean, if you look at it like this, the first bot I ever set up was easy to Ethereum, and I started with 2 Ethereums. They were less than 1,000 for the pair of them, and they generated me an extra Ethereum in 2 weeks. I reinvested some of that into other pairs, and Ethereum was going up while I was undecided. I spent a few weeks not having any of them, just holding the Ethereum as it was going up. It was going crazy. And then I decided at that point to cash the Ethereum into Binance Coin and create some of these and some other pairs. So a lot of it is good luck, good timing of the market, but it definitely emphasized the bullishness of the market. And I was just lucky in the pairs that I chose, I suppose. So yeah. Would setting up a bot in this market be beneficial or risky? Well, I did make a video on that not long ago. It could be beneficial. I'll show you on what I mean by that. Alright, so this is the example that I used on Bitcoin, right? So I wouldn't advise doing a Bitcoin pairing anyway. Not so much a Bitcoin pairing, but a Tether pairing. But I'll show you this as an example. Right, so this is Bitcoin, right? We all know the Bitcoin chart. Everyone's very fluent with the Bitcoin chart. So if I wanted to play a range, right, like the way that I play them myself, and I try and limit the range because I want to make more profit, I try and play that range that's going to get played specifically. So if I was trying to be clever, I'd say this is the range. This isn't going to go any lower than this. This is going to be the range. This is it. It's not going to move out of this range. I know it for a fact. So why would I have grids down here? But if you're looking to, I suppose, make the most out of what could be a massive move up or a massive move down, you'd cushion the blow, don't you? So where do you think Bitcoin is likely to go if it were to break down? What would be the lowest you would expect it to go down? And you would stretch your range to accommodate for that. And so if the worst came to the worst and Bitcoin broke down to 24,000, or if it broke down all the way down to 20,000, it would be a significant hit to your portfolio, no doubt. I mean, you would be losing, the value of your initial investment would be going down massively. But the silver lining of that dark cloud is that as it's going down, obviously there's more moves in between all that. It doesn't go just straight down. I mean, it could do, but generally it wouldn't. It would trickle down. There'd be moves all over the place. We can see that already if we were to just look at this on a 15-minute time frame. We'll see what's been going on with Bitcoin. All of this would have been traded. All this up and all this down, all this up, all this down. All of that would have been traded by the bot. So even though your portfolio would essentially be going down, your investment would be going down, the silver lining would it would be spitting out some bot profit, in this case in the form of Tether. So the idea being that when it finally finds its bottom, worst case scenario, all the way down to where you think it's the lowest it's going to go, and sales all the way back up to the top, your investment would have broken even, but throughout the entire process you will have generated bot profit of God knows how much, during all of that. Like I say, when you bear in mind that every little piece would be traded, then you would be looking at a sizable chunk of Tether, in this instance Tether, that would have been spat out during that process. So it wouldn't have been as painful. If you're confident that Bitcoin will eventually come back up here and beyond, then yeah, what you're doing is it's like the ultimate hodl, right? The ultimate hodl. and you're spitting out profit throughout the downtrend as well as back up on the uptrend. So in that respect, it wouldn't be a bad idea. If you're, I mean, again, you're probably the same as me right now. I'm undecided of where it's going to go. I don't know if there's going to be a drop. I don't know if it's going to plummet. I don't know if it's going to go up. I don't really know. So if I were to set a bot up, I'd do it with a cushion to allow for a larger trading range, and not make the mistake that I've made with some of these other bots where they've fallen out of range and don't make profit. This way, you know, you'll be making profit regardless of the move in the form of bot profit, even though your investment obviously will be going down as, you know, Bitcoin goes down. Does that make sense? So it's not the worst idea in the world, no. And like I say, if your strategy is to hodl anyway, then at least you know you're going to get something back from a downtrend eventually. Right. Is there any more questions, or should we leave it like that? We should leave it like that. Bit of a smaller turnout on this occasion than it was on Wednesday, but I guess it's Friday night. There's better things to do than to watch me sort of struggle to read through the comments and not answer your questions appropriately. So I hope you don't go onto the Telegram chat and say, unsubscribe to that was terrible. You know, it's a work in progress. Every weekend I'm going to be spitting out some decent tutorials onto the Patreon account, so there'll be things there that you won't, that won't be available on YouTube normally. And this week I'm going to do one on the Ichimoku cloud, so because there's been a few people asking me about that. That seems to be something that people want to know about, and it can be quite hard to explain. So on, you know, on a live basis, so I'm going to make a decent video that should make it clearer to everybody about what it is and why it is that I use it and what it means and why I think it's a decent, important indicator to have generally on my everyday trading platform, on my charts here. But other than that, I'll thank you for joining me, and yeah, spread the word, not the bad ones, just spread the good word that, you know, that there is value to this. There will be more value to this, I promise you. It's a work in progress. I've only done the Patreon for a week. I am gonna add more value to this, I promise you guys. But thanks for watching anyway. Thanks for